In 1973, a young man came to San Francisco. Fresh from Washington, D.C., and before that, London and Paris, he was a young man looking to find his fortune, much as the gold miners had done oh so many years before. During his tours of duty with the Ritz Hotel and with the Savoy Group, he had learned the fine art of personalized European service. The personalities who had impressed him the most were those of the various concierges with whom he found himself. Working with such legendary people as Victor Legge at the Ritz and Jean Le Rapidi at the Lancaster Hotel in Paris, he quickly realized that this is what he wanted to do in life more than anything else. Upon his return to the United States, he was unable to fulfill this dream, as this country did not offer such a service, even though it was commonplace in hotels in England and on the continent. Arriving at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, he was engaged initially as a duty manager. However, shortly thereafter, he caught the eye of a very important man. The Swig family owned the Fairmont, and Richard Swig was the president. Mr. Swig approached Tom Wolfe with a question.
Mr. Wolfe, my family and I have traveled throughout Europe, and whatever hotel we stayed at, the concierge was always the man who helped us make our stay incredible. I've been thinking of having a concierge here, too, to really have that European service. And I wondered, would you be interested in that job?
Stunned by this request, yet never at a loss for words, our protagonist replied, "Mr. Swig, I'll be happy to take that project on, and I promise I'll give it all I've got." And thus Tom Wolfe became, at the tender age of 29, the first concierge in the United States of America. From his lonely post atop Nob Hill, he looked everywhere to find a kindred spirit, as the Fairmont truly was the only hotel offering such service. It created a learning curve for the public and for the restaurants and contacts who would become partners and wind up in his little black book. Utilizing his European contacts again, he was able to get in touch with Jean Gillet, whose father had founded Les Clés d'Or. Through them, he was able to become the first member of Les Clés d'Or in the United States. But Wolfe's dreams went far beyond just becoming a concierge. His vision was to have a network of concierges around the United States and to form its own section of Clés d'Or, as there were already in England, France, Italy, and many other countries. Visiting Jean Gillet, Wolfe recalls a conversation they had.
Tommy, I am very pleased that you want to have a section of Les Clés d'Or in the United States. I will do all I can to help you.
Little by little, the concierge profession took hold in the United States. A great deal of publicity had been generated, with the Fairmont being the first to debut this new position. Before long, other hotels in the city had joined in, notably the Clift Hotel, with Larry Allport being one of the very first concierge in that city. Holly Steele at the Hyatt broke the mold as the first female concierge. By that time, there was a small group of concierge who would meet once a month, often at Wolfe's apartment on Nob Hill. These were the very early days of our organization, and Tom's dream was starting to become a reality. In 1976, Wolfe embarked on a journey to Lisbon for the annual Congress of Les Clés d'Or. This was the first attendance by an American at any Congress, and the welcome was very warm indeed. Flying through London, he joined the Great Britain section, several of whom he knew already. At the closing ceremony and gala in Estoril, he was suddenly asked to make a speech following all the other presidents of the various sections. Since their remarks had been rather lengthy, and Tom had no prepared speech. He opted for the less is more approach. Merci beaucoup, chers collègues. I would just like to say, I came here as a stranger, but I'm leaving as a friend. Merci. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen was the scene for the 1977 Congress. With statutes and a board of directors, Wolfe again made the journey, hoping to come back with an officially sanctioned American chapter. Jean Gillet.
Tommy, the committee director still has the matter under consideration. Please be patient. Courage, mon ami.
Discouraged not a bit by these developments, Tom went back to the States with renewed enthusiasm. Back home in San Francisco, the concierge concept was being embraced by more and more hotels, and the small group's numbers started increasing. Howard Storm from the Stanford Court became one of the very early prime members, and concierge were beginning to show up in other cities, such as New York, Chicago, and even New Orleans. The word was out, and savvy hoteliers saw that this was an amenity that had become a necessity for the sophisticated traveler. The 1978 Congress was to be held in Vienna, and this time, Tom did his best to get more attendees. No longer alone, there would now be a small USA delegation, among them Holly Steele, Larry Allport, and several others. Jean Gillet was very happy indeed, and there would be a big surprise.
Merci de me céder la parole pour quelques minutes. Nous vous accueillons dans l'UIPGH, la section 19e, les États-Unis, et son président, M. Thomas Wolfe.
Yes, it was official. The USA was welcomed as the 19th member section of the UIPGH, the formal name of Les Clés d'Or at the time. It was an historic moment and put the section on the map instantly. Tom Wolfe's dream had finally come true.